Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Dissidia Duellum Final Fantasy video, and today we're going to take a look at all 10 starting characters on the official Twitter for Dissidia Duellum. They have been slowly releasing out little character teasers with gameplay of each character, and so I was kind of waiting for all of them to be released, and today the final 2 were released. So we're going to go kind of quickly through all 10 characters, get a little snippet of them. We're going to read the brief description, and then we are going to look at the video and see what we can notice from the gameplay of these characters, right? So let's start with Warrior of Light. Warrior of Light is obviously going to be a shield character. That's always kind of been his theme in the game, so he can protect allies with that. So let's go ahead and take a look at his video here, and there are some things I think we can glean from this, right? These are short, like, they're all like, 20 seconds or less. So right here, we've got Warrior of Light coming in. When they do that brave animation, I think that means their brave is... I guess I don't know. I feel like it's when they start attacking the boss, but because we see we're using a skill here to attack the crystal. So what I want to go back to here first, let's go back to here really quick. So what we've got, so all the characters, they kind of start with the animation, but right here, they are flicking up the Minwu, what we call it, artist ability, I believe is what they're calling them, right? So they flick up the Minwu artist ability, and it says Minwu teleport. And what's happening here is we are actually teleporting. There are a bunch of crystals or enemies out here that we are teleporting to. There's other instances I think we can see of this, and then there was just a quick instance of one of other Warrior of Light skills. I don't know, let's look at it one more time here and see if there's actually, yeah, you can see there was different crystals. He's warping to a crystal, then doing an attack to attack enemies. And then here we see the Shining Wave attack. They didn't really do anything in this video that shows how his shielding works, that I can tell. They just do a teleport and then just his shining attack, right? And if we look down here, it looks like 2 of these are Warrior of Light attacks. It's actually kind of hard to tell by the image, but once again, there's going to be artist abilities or abilities that are generic, and there's going to be some that anybody can use. The other thing I'm noticing here is on the mini-map, before we have all these letters on here like A, B, C, D, E, the first time I saw them, I wasn't sure what they were. But now looking at this, it's looking like those are correlating to the crystals, right? You can see the crystals there are all numbered. So with the Minwu ability, we are able to teleport quickly to those crystals. So a couple of things that we're getting from that video. Let's go ahead and check out Kain. Kain is skilled at closing gaps with the jump attack. So let's go ahead and see this in action here. We are going to bring this down a little bit. Hold on, I've got to mute some stuff here. All right, so let's go ahead and check out Kain's here. We're going to bring this back a little bit. All right, let's take a look at what Kain is doing here. So once again, coming in, it just says Brave. So he's maybe just doing a Brave gain, or that's maybe an animation that when your burst is up. I'm not sure. So when we come down here, we can see we have several attacks active. Now, it does show here that 3 of the attacks say burst on them and 2 do not. So it may be that some skills can only be used while you're in burst and some aren't. Or maybe these skills are buffed when you're in burst. My guess is that some can be used outside of burst and some can be used in burst. So for example, that Minwu teleport, to me that seems like something you'd use outside of burst because you're trying to get to the crystals to help purify them, to gain brave, to maybe get to an enemy mob, something like that, right? Okay, so right here we are doing a charge. You see there was a hold and a charge there. And then Kain is jumping and closing the gap on an enemy. So it appears like he kind of targets the enemy from a distance and then can jump towards them. There's another one you can see, that spiral blow. We can pull this back a little bit. But this attack, you'll see it does come up with a meter just before he uses it. So right here, we see a meter come up. And then he is on the burst ability, swipes it upward, and it has a direction to it. So once again, so Kain not only can jump and close the gap towards the enemies, but also has an attack in here with kind of a linear line to it that will kind of close the gap on an enemy. And I'm assuming other characters can do attacks like this one, where we're kind of leaping towards an enemy, but the actual jump attack I'm sure will be exclusive to Kain. What they're really building here is they're really trying to make each character, I think, very unique in playstyle, and I think players are going to have to decide based on their playstyle who they want to use, right? And the more, by the way, I'll just say this as a side note, the more I start to look at gameplay and the more I kind of hear from the community, it sounds like you might legitimately only have one character and you're not even team building. When it says 3 versus 3, what a lot of people are telling me that it'll actually be 6 players total. And so you're teaming up with 2 random people online and going against another team of 3 that we're all paired up online is what it's sounding like, right? So I don't know how I feel about that, because to me, team building is one of the funner things about the game. The other thing that can be bad, I'll just pause this Krile video for a minute here. We'll get to Krile in a second. The other thing that I don't like about, if this is how it's actually going to work, players will get excluded that want to play certain characters, because there will be certain characters like Cloud, maybe even Terra, you know, Lightning, some of these like DPS type of characters that are going to be really popular and a lot of people are going to want to play them. But then when there's team building, it depends on how the pairing works. Like if it's random and you get who you get, whatever. But if it's kind of like you get to see and you get to decide if you want to pair with those people or not. I've played too many games like this before where it's like every team wants a healer, every team wants a support. And so what it is everybody wants to play the fun DPS characters, not as many people want to play the supports, but then the only way to get into queues with parties is to actually play the support characters, right? I hope that's not how this game ends up being, because it's like, all right, I guess I'm going to main Krile because everyone wants the battery support, right? But I can't play Terra, who I actually want, because one, she's probably going to be a DPS and maybe she won't even be the best one, so then people won't want to be on my team. And it might be a situation where like a triple Terra team or a Cloud Terra Lightning, like all DPS team, it might be that those teams aren't going to be very successful. So I don't know. There's still a lot up in the air on that end, but we can talk maybe a little bit more about that in the end. Let's get to the focus here. Let's look at Krile. So Krile specializes in long-range support. I'm going to just mute this out really quick. Yeah, that should be fine. I'm just going to mute that out because I don't want the audio coming through my headset there when I go into the video. But she is a long-range support and also able to transfer her Brave to allies. So that's the other thing with characters is what kind of character do you want to play in terms of their range, right? Do you want to play a close-range character? Do you want to play a kind of distance, long-range character? All right, so let's check out Krile here. So Krile coming in. Okay, and every character's doing like a little intro there. All right, so right now it looks like it looks like the character is just holding down, or they're aiming and charging right now. This is the same symbol we saw in the Prompto video when Prompto was kind of aiming and shooting. So I feel like right now we're just kind of holding down a button to kind of charge right here. And it looks like the Brave, you can see the Brave here of the allies is just going up. So it almost feels like Krile is a character where you just want to sit at a distance and just sit here and pump Brave, right? All right, and here's one of her abilities. Okay, and it looks like there is just literally Brave gaining off of that. Let's look at it again. So let me go back a step here. I want to go before Krile uses this and see if the actual like team Brave goes up. Okay, yeah, so like right here, this too, when she's charging, we can just look here. But we can see, so it's actually draining Brave, but I think it's giving it to your other allies. And then we use this here, and it does look like there's a recharge, so you can only use it so often. So I don't know, we saw the green numbers pop up, so this is the part I'm a little confused about. Because it's like here, we want a Brave charge, but it's actually draining our Brave here. So the thing I'm not sure about, okay, so I guess this would be Krile's because when I first saw this, 9,999 Brave, I guess I was kind of thinking of this before as like your team's Brave, but I think each individual character has their own Brave. So what Krile is doing is she is sacrificing her Brave and giving it to like the DPS character. So it looks like there's like a Lightning back there, and you can see their Brave numbers are going up. So that's kind of what's happening there. And then this here, if we look at this, we're seeing big numbers here, and we're seeing numbers here that are green. So the thing I'm not sure about, I don't see Krile's Brave go up. So you would want to think of this as healing, but I don't know if you have health. Like, that's something I think I kind of overlooked. It's like, do you actually even have health? Like, I don't know that I see anything that would indicate a health bar, other than maybe if this, but we see a big boss symbol up here. So, I mean, I would assume one of these is the boss health bar. Maybe they're both the boss health bar. Maybe like, because it almost looks like it's one bar. And then maybe it goes down, and then there's maybe the boss will trigger something halfway, and then you have to do the second half. But yeah, that's something I kind of overlooked, is I don't see anything in this game that indicates you even have health. Because once again, the gameplay is all about just speed of like beating the boss before the other team. And I think it's really all just about Brave, right? So rather than losing health, you're probably attacking the enemies and you're just stealing their Brave. So that's kind of interesting. So this game may not even have healers. Like, Brave might be the actual healing in the game. I'll be honest, Krile seems like a type of character I would actually maybe enjoy playing. Because I do like the idea of long-range characters, and the idea of being a support, like I said earlier, would probably mean a lot of people would want Krile on the team. We'll see, though. Okay, so let's go back. So we got Krile. Let's go into the next one. All right, we got Terra. Obviously, you know I'm hyped for Terra. Let's see what Terra's looking like here in her gameplay. So she's just a balanced character who launches foes with a tornado attack. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look here. So here's Terra. She's coming in. All right, so she is, once again, we see this symbol here. What is it? This yellow symbol here. So every time I see this, it's we're holding down and we're aiming. So that's kind of what Terra is doing right now. And then, yeah, just launches a big old tornado that launches everybody up in the air. So it's kind of funny that if this were like relative to Defo, Terra would be a launch character in that game. But launching in this game obviously is going to be different. There isn't like a launch sequence like in Defo. It's meant to, I think, just once again, you literally throw them up in the air, which is stealing Brave, and then also maybe delaying their actions a little bit, slowing them down, right? And then here's Riot Blade. And then just damage. And then we do see a burst chain. So this is something I haven't mentioned before. My assumption is this is going to be if another character maybe uses a burst attack at the same time as you. That I assume is maybe what a burst chain would be. And there's probably, so I think a lot of the cooperative aspect of this is kind of timing this up with your teammates properly. And I'm sure as we get into the game, we'll figure out how that all works, right? All right, so there's Terra. Let's go to Cloud. Cloud is a standard fighter able to use Ascension to advance in attack. So once again, Cloud is just going to be your straight up melee attacker. Let's see if they show his Ascension in here. Okay, so yeah, there we saw Cloud just do like a very casual right here. Just a very casual like big leap towards the enemy. So sprint. That was an SR ability that came up. So that to me is probably a non-burst ability, probably generic one that you can just use. But he literally sprinted. Now he's using finishing touch, which is like the big tornado attack. Now this one doesn't launch, so it's different than Terra's, right? And then here we've got another attack coming in. So once again, uses sprint again to dodge. So we saw the kind of red area here where the enemy is trying to attack. You can see this here's where the attack is aimed. Sprint is a very evasive ability here where we're using it. Once again, your skills are probably going to be on cooldown, so you can't just sprint constantly, right? And then just going in and doing regular melee attacks followed up by a Braver. So Cloud is definitely going to be your close range melee attacker there. Let's check out Rinoa. Rinoa has low defense but can teleport with Sorceress Leap. So she's obviously going to be a mage character and is going to have a unique movement ability. So she sounds like she's going to be kind of like a glass cannon type of character. So which I don't know if I'm going to like that, right? So there we are clicking and holding and you'll see this circle is kind of moving outward. So I'm guessing the longer you hold it, this is just going to keep it extending. And my guess is when you release, you'll teleport to that spot. So she is releasing and then yes, very quick teleport. Now using a spell to do an AoE attack. Very cool. And then dropping down a meteor. And this is probably going to be UR ability. Yeah, big damage there. Okay, so here's something we can clarify. The boss definitely took damage, and the health bar here is actually draining from left to right. So it actually goes this way. And that's going to be my assumption is this whole thing is just a boss health bar. And then, yeah, your characters I don't think are actually going to have health. It doesn't seem that way, right? It's just going to be this brave battle of battling crystals, mobs, and then other enemies to kind of just win this brave battle to get up to the point to actually be able to damage the boss. And then it's going to be a DPS race, right? All right, let's go to the next one. Next one we've got is Zidane. So let's check him out here. So he has a steal ability, right? So he has the ability... so he has agility. So he's going to probably be a speedy character. And he can steal others' bravery for himself. So let's take a look at what Zidane is doing here. Okay, so here he's using barrier. So this just looks like a generic ability you can use that anybody could have. Running in, just doing a little attack there. But you did see, I don't know if this is like a passive ability, but you can see the word brave pop up here. And I don't know that I've seen that when other characters attack. So I wonder if that's indicating that he's stealing. All right, there's sleight of hand. So this is definitely like, yeah, you can see him just absorbing brave from everybody there. And then there's grand lethal with a decent little attack there. See, the thing is I'm not really sure about the idea of him stealing brave, like how is that different than anybody attacking? I suppose, okay, maybe the way this works is like when you attack an enemy, like with a normal character, right? Normal attack, you're maybe lowering their brave, but you are maybe not brave gaining off of that. And maybe the only way you brave gain is off of crystals. But then Zidane, the difference with him is since he is stealing brave, that he does brave gain when he attacks enemies. That's kind of what I'm gathering from this. Maybe we'll pay attention as we watch other characters attack to see how the brave gain is working, right? We're kind of just doing this on the fly and looking at all of these. Let's check out Lightning. So she is a highly mobile character who excels at decimating foes. I mean, I like that description for a DPS, right? Let's check out Lightning here. You can see the maps are different as well. So you can see we've got 5 crystal locations kind of spread out. And then the boss in the middle. So yeah, this is kind of looking a little like a League of Legends type of game, which I'm not that excited for, to be honest. The thing too that it's going to be for me is I want to know what the single player of this game looks like. If this game is only multiplayer, like I might be out. Like I don't know, you guys. I've been trying to be optimistic, but I gotta just get this game in my hands and try it. But like, yeah, every video they've shown so far is just this format of crystals, boss, enemies, characters. Like, if this is all the game is literally just this, I don't know if I'm gonna like it. I'm gonna be pretty real with you there. All right, so lightning coming in. We are holding something here. That might just be for running, right? And then we saw the arrow for like a dashing. There was just a normal AoE attack. Okay, and see here, lightning is attacking. And, okay, the brave did go up there on the enemy. Here's army of 1. And this looks like she's attacking Zidane. So, oh, that's interesting. Let's look at that again. Hold on, this is something different. Okay, so if we go here, let's look at Lightning's Brave, right? Lightning's Brave is at 1,000. She's attacking this Zidane character, which I guess here I am seeing health bars here. So maybe that's where the health is, but I don't, there's nothing indicating like for yourself, like where your health is, but I am seeing that does look like a health bar on the enemies, right? These look like regular enemy mobs here. This looks like Zidane. But watch Lightning's Brave here. She's at 1,000. And then here, this looks like a KO to me, right? Like that red. And we see a KO symbol here. And then Lightning's Brave just goes from 1,000 to max. So it might be that KOing an enemy steals all of their Brave. But then Zidane is actually gaining Brave for like the little hits in between. That could be what that is, right? All right, let's take another look. I just kind of want to watch this one more time. Okay, Lightning is at 1,000 Brave. So all of those attacks there, see, every individual attack, we're not gaining Brave. So I think that's what Zidane is doing, is he's gaining Brave for every attack, whereas I believe we're probably only gaining Brave maybe when we defeat enemies, crystals, whatever. Wait, all right, I want to watch this again. Because, like, it almost looks like Zidane comes out of Lightning. Am I crazy? Hold on. See, like, right here. Okay, I think Zidane is just there. Okay, yeah, I see right here. Okay, so Zidane is here. It's just when the camera changes. Yeah, it just looks like he pops out of Lightning, but... And he's all red. I don't know. I feel like it could be just like an NPC version of Zidane. I don't know if that's a player character or not. But yeah, then we definitely saw the KO screen up there. So yeah, there is health and there's a way to KO. That's definitely in there. All right, let's look at Gaia. Gaia is one of the newer ones that got posted here. This one's only 14 hours ago. So Gaia is skilled at buffing herself and debuffing foes with her time manipulation. So she is definitely a buff debuffer type of character. I actually haven't watched Gaia's video yet, so let's see what we got going on here. Okay, so spell in waiting. So that must have just been like maybe a buff or a debuff, because I didn't really see a lot of numbers there. Hopeful Dance. That got a KO on it. It looked like it KO'd this Warrior of Light character. And then it purified the crystal. Here's Diamond Destroyer here. And then some damage. We did see a symbol there. So my guess is, we'll watch this again. Right there. This looks like it's probably a speed. It's probably a clock with a down arrow. So that's got to be like a speed debuff. And then here, these look like attack and defense buffs for Gaia on the attack, right? So we definitely saw some of that in action and then regular attacks there. All right. Gaia looks like a mace character, huh? So I wasn't sure when I initially, because once again, I'm not familiar with Gaia at all from Final Fantasy XIV. I thought Gaia was going to be more like a mage. But Gaia's up here just slamming away with this big heavy mace. Oh, here we go. So looking at that again, once it was an AoE spread, and then look, all of these down arrows. So these are all debuffs on the enemy. So yeah, that was a debuff. Okay, cool. So if you like your debuffers, Gaia might be what you want to play. Here's Prompto. Prompto is a long-range damage dealer, which is, we would figure that, right? All right, so we got Lumen Flare here to start. So chucking a grenade. And this looks like a paralyzed debuff. So yeah, we've got a paralyzed debuff there. Looks like we gained some Brave as well. And then here, this is standard attack, it looks like. And we're just aiming and shooting. I think Prompto actually could be kind of fun. Definitely if you like your first-person shooters, you're going to like Prompto. Prompto actually does seem kind of fun. I kind of like the long-range characters here. Trigger happy. Yep, and we see the damage coming down here on the boss up here. I mean, I almost wonder if this is the player health bar. It could be. I haven't seen anything yet. I guess I have to pay attention to every video, but I haven't seen anything where this health bar has changed. But I might have missed it. We'll keep going. We'll look for that maybe on these next... Or no, is Prompto the last one? We already went through them all, huh? Prompto, Gaia, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, we went through everybody. Let's go back to one of these older ones. Let's look at, like, Cloud. I want to see if there's anything in here where we see anything happen to the other health bar. So actually here, hold on. Let me go back to the beginning here. Okay. I was thinking it looked like that health bar had gone down a little bit, but it's just got a thick border on it. Yeah, I don't know in any of these videos that I've seen anything where that right health bar is affected. So I guess that's a little up in the air. We've confirmed for sure that this is definitely boss taking damage. I guess one thing too that we're noticing is when the boss is taking damage, just this half is flashing. So I could see this just being either a phase 2 boss health bar, or maybe this is your health. Because we definitely saw, like when we looked at, you know, the mobs and the enemies on the screen, like the other player characters, that there were little health bars above them. And we did see that go down. We don't really see that right here. Yep, see, we see health bars here. So there is health out there. And then this possibly could be your health bar. So anyways, let me just give some kind of thoughts on some things that I've seen throughout. Once again, obviously I would prefer it be turn-based, not action. But in terms of it being action, I don't think right now, I'm not super worried about the actual gameplay itself in terms of like how I attack and stuff. It seems simple enough to play on mobile. I could see that being fine. The thing I'm really worried about is everything we've seen from this game has been multiplayer that I can tell, right? I mean, it could be here that maybe we're just doing a boss with crystals. Maybe there are no other enemy characters here, right? But we have, everything is just fighting a boss on a map. I just really am curious how much of the game is going to be like this PvP. I won't even call it well, it is. It's a PvP co-op, because if it is truly 3 versus 3 and I'm only controlling one of the 3, I am co-oping with 2 other people, and then we are playing against another team, right? If that is indeed how this works. But if the whole game is kind of just that, I don't know how I feel, you guys. Like, I mean, if you think about it, like Defo, like the entire game is pretty much boss battles, right? Like all of the quest mode stuff that you're just grinding out mobs, like you're just auto battling that. So that doesn't really matter. So the core Defo gameplay that you really played was just pretty much boss battles. So I guess the fact that the whole game would be boss battles, I guess isn't a bad thing, because that's really what matters. But I just want to know how much of it is going to have to be PvP, if that's going to be required. My hope is that most of the game can be played single player, and then PvP will, I don't know, they're probably going to do seasons. You're probably going to have to like rank up and whatever, but to what extent is it going to be? If it's going to be like Dragon Ball Legends, where you like pretty much the main gameplay is PvP, I might be out. We'll see. Once again, fingers crossed that I get into the beta. I really just, once again, at this point, I need to just get my hands on this game and play it to see if I'm going to really like it enough to continue playing and covering the game. You guys can let me know what you think so far. Also, let me know what character or characters you think you're going to main first if you're going to play this game. I think right now I'm leaning towards Terra and Krile. Seem like the two kind of funnest ones to me, or most interesting. Well, Terra, I would say just because Final Fantasy VI is my favorite, so I'm going to main a Final Fantasy VI character. That's just bias. But Krile kind of seems fun. Like, I like the idea of just kind of being on the outskirts, charging the Brave up, and then doing some long distance attacks. I think that could actually be kind of fun. So you guys let me know what you think in the comments. By the way, if you are interested in Final Fantasy Duellum and want more info on this game, I am planning to cover it. I'm going to cover this game heavily until I decide I don't want to play it anymore. If I enjoy the game enough, I will continue to cover it just like I did with Defo, right? So if you are interested in this game and want coverage on it, definitely subscribe to the channel. Liking the videos always helps me get more views. That's helpful to the channel. And then I do have a Discord in the description of every video. If you want to go ahead and click that and join my Discord, have some conversations about the game, feel free to do that as well. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you all on the next one.